Hello, YouTube friends. Gail's here to play another visual novel. I know it's been a while. I've been busy with moving and making my own VNs and just haven't really had the time for recording any videos, playing visual novels and all that. Kind of put that on hold for a bit. But we're in our new house. Things are finally starting to settle down and getting back to normal, which means I have time now to play some visual novels and record some videos. So yay, new house. Yeah, my son was even asking me, he's like, when are you gonna do another video? And I'm like, I don't know, I guess I could. Sure, why not? It's been a while. I want to play some winter themed visual novels because, you know, it's cold out, there's snow on the ground. We just got a big snow here, and 'tis the season for some snowy, cozy, hopefully cozy visual novels. Some might not be so cozy. We'll see. But this one's called A Wish of Snow, and it was for the Winter Visual Novel Jam, I believe it's called, 2025. So, or 2024. I don't know. I don't know if it's 2024 or 2025, but whatever. Happy New Year. So, let's go ahead and get started. Her Majesty's Royal Invitation. By decree of the Crown, Mrs. Solange Beaufort and the members of her esteemed house are cordially invited to attend the Year's End Ball to be held within the resplendent halls of the palace on the eve of Saturday, the 9th of December, 18XX, whatever, at precisely 8 o'clock in the evening. Despite the unprecedented flurry of snow blanketing the land for the first time in years, the warmth of camaraderie and the radiance of 1,000 lanterns shall light our gathering, casting aside winter's chill. Every noble is requested to don their finest gowns and winter wraps, as well as distinguished tails and cravats. Sleighs will be provided to escort our honored guests through the frosted paths leading to the palace gates. Okay, interesting, not bad. Not a huge fan of this font, honestly, but at least it's big, so big enough that I can read it pretty easily, so that's good. This looks much nicer, much easier to read, thank goodness. Sometimes when you got that fancy, you know, handwritten text, it can be really hard to read. I know sometimes they'll do like a translate option to where it'll be more readable, friendly, but like I said, I could still read it pretty easily because it was big enough, so that's good. As long as I can read it, it's fine enough for me. And as long as it's just a little short passage, it's not going to be used all throughout, because that would definitely annoy me. Dread rippled through me, turning into waves of resignation even as I fought the urge to. This is really nice. I like the GUI. It's very fancy. Fits the tone. Fancy schmancy tone. Mutter undistinctly unladylike curses or tear the letter into shreds. Sure. Instead, it fell from my hands, fluttering into the ground like a facsimile of a snowflake. And there goes my reading night. Solange, her name, okay. Due to the inexplicable appearance of snow in several years, most of the townsfolk fled inside. They wondered and pondered over if this was a sign of the end of times or simply a warning from the spirits. While my parents, like most nobles, wondered if the ball was canceled. Oh yeah, this one's partially voice acted, so that's cool. Sighing, I looked out into the window, watching it shudder from the force of the icy wind banging against it. Strange. The snowflake on my window is gone. All right. Gotta point this out. So, earlier it had it in parentheses and in italics. So this is, I'm assuming thought. But then this is just in italics and there's no parentheses, but it's still thought, right? So Gotta be consistent, you know. It doesn't really matter if you choose to use italics or if you choose to choose parentheses, or I guess both if you really want a double whammy. I don't think it's necessary, but if you really want to, you can. You just gotta be consistent with it, because otherwise it's gonna get confusing now. Is it thought? Is it dialogue? It can be hard to tell if you're not consistent. Just want to point that out. Okay, let's keep going. I see it all the time. Don't worry. I'm sure I've done it a few times. I tried it, but I try to be pretty consistent. But anyway, in a place of actual snow, it became a tradition to make a wish while one hangs a paper snowflake by the window each winter. It was said to carry a person's wishes from their hearts right into the ears of the otherworldly. Yeah, see, we're back to the parentheses. All right. Could this mean that the spirits took my wish this year? It would be nice to see him again. A wry smile crossed my lips, though it's more likely that it fell whilst Matilda was dusting the windows. As though she heard my thoughts, the familiar sound of a throat clearing cut through my nostalgic haze. Pardon me, my lady, but the Duke would like to ask if you are ready for tonight's ball. A sigh escaped me before I could help it. I turned back to the window. You know I'll never be half as ready for these things as I pretend to be. If it helps, I will have a warm bath ready for you upon your return. I shot her a graceful smile. Out of everyone in this household, Matilda understood how immense the pressure to save the reputation of House Beaufort must be. Your father believes that it may be your last chance to find a husband, given that... Yes, given that I am his only daughter who, spirits forbid, would grow into a kindly old spinster. Matilda was silent for a moment before she picked up the fallen letter. There is nothing wrong with being a spinster. Too bad the rest of society doesn't see it that way. She stepped closer, her eyes kind but swimming with sympathy. It was a stare I'd been familiar with ever since I was a young girl, being subjected to these events like some sort of show pony prize of Duke Beaufort's. Lady Solange, I know this must be difficult for you, but I can only thank you for your tireless efforts. Without you securing a spouse, the house may very well fall into a state of disgrace and disrepair. And, well, I shudder to think what would happen to an old lady like me. My mouth went dry. If that ever happens, I'll personally make sure you'll find considerable employment. Perish the thought, Matilda, it shan't happen. Yeah, we take care of our servants. If that ever happens, I will personally make sure you'll find considerable employment. Your kindness is appreciated, my lady, though it would be hard to serve another house. Her old, wrinkled hand shook slightly as she held out the letter. Oh, she's an old lady. I honestly didn't even know that. But now we know, and I took it. I thought she was like a young maid. I could have done an old lady voice if I had known, but oh well. That fateful night arrived sooner than I would have wanted. Despite the enchanting waltz and pleasant chatter, nerves gnawed at my stomach. Regardless of my feelings, however, I smiled gracefully as I descended the stairs and glided into the ballroom. Countless faces glanced up at me, many of them men, earls, and dukes, who could prove to be my match. I must choose someone for the future of my family. I repeated those words to myself to remind myself of my duty. As I arrived at the bottom of the staircase, I observed the people around me. A shifty-looking man with a cane that made me look away immediately. A gentleman with a red suit who seemed more engaged with the glasses of lemonade rather than dancing. So I want to comment on the art a little bit. Yeah, it looks nice. I really like the background. The silhouettes are pretty cool. At least it's something, you know. And I like that. I like the movement. And I really like the animation's nice. And I like how they're describing the silhouettes too. So we did have a little trouble, like I said, with the maid. I didn't realize that she was an old lady until they mentioned that. So you might want to do it a little bit sooner if you're going to do that. But this is nice, though. Yeah, that's good. As long as you have descriptions, we're getting a good idea of the characters in our minds. You don't always need to do sprites if they're just background characters. Minor characters, not important. Only going to be there for a minute. You don't need to do full-on, colored and shaded sprites. Silhouettes is perfectly fine. And we're still getting descriptions, though, so we're still getting an idea of our mind. But it's good. I like it. They even got little silhouettes up here. It's very nice. Very pretty. All right. And the main character sprite looks nice, too. Yeah. A blonde man with a kind smile who was snatched up by a woman with dark hair. I chose not to approach first, lest I appear desperate. Yet I grew antsy merely waiting. Lady Buford, it is such a delight to see you have decided to come. I turned to look at a tall gentleman walking towards me. It was Lord Easton. We'd met in seasons past. He was a boisterous man who loved to make his presence known. Conversations with him were not terrible, but a part of it would usually be heard by half the people in the room.
My lord?
My Lord Easton, it is such a pleasure to see you as well. Oh, you know me. I could not miss the event of the season, Snowfall be damned. And if I may, I should like to start this evening by asking you for a dance. An invitation so soon could be a good sign of my luck in finding a match. Lord Easton is scarcely the best option around, yet I could do much worse. Putting on a smile, I once more offered my hand.
Of course.
Dancing. Oh, that's cool. Nice animations. The gentleman took me to the center of the ballroom, and so we began dancing. So, my lord, I heard... Oh, surely you heard about me from my new estate near the fields of Belrose. Of course, there's scarcely anyone who has not heard of it. Kind of wonder why she's waiting so long. She not interested in men, maybe? It's interesting. I must say, it is truly magnificent to behold. I hope that you would like to join me one day. I would surely like to see it. Lord Easton smiled satisfactorily at my response. It was what he wanted to hear. Truthfully, little do I care about seeing it. But I wager he is to organize a dinner soon enough, with how much he desires to show it off. Another event I would certainly be forced to attend. As I twirled, I caught a glimpse of something that grabbed my attention. Seems to me like she's just really not into this whole life that she's been living. But it is curious. If it's all she's ever known, she's just not happy with her life, I guess. It's kind of sad. Maybe she's like aromantic or something. She's just not interested in romance and just wants to live. But no, it's part of her duty, so she's forcing herself to find somebody. Sad. All right. As I twirled, I caught a glimpse of something that grabbed my attention. Among the many guests of the party was a man of sky blue hair. It stood out not merely because of its unique color, but also because I recognized it. Could it be? No. Surely he cannot be at this ball. Yet, my mind would not let go of the thought that perhaps it was him. Lord Easton looked at me, seeming to notice my distraction. I'm curious. We'll look for him again. I briefly looked back at my dancing partner and offered a smile. He's the only man in color, so we know he must be significant to the plot. He smiled back, pleased to have my attention again, and quickly he began to speak. But very quickly my eyes drifted once more, searching for something, for someone. There, amongst the crowd of people, I saw his face. It was him, Eirwin. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the names. I'm not good at pronouncing names. I just pronounce them how I think they should be pronounced, and usually I'm wrong. The one I wished for when hanging my paper snowflake. For a brief moment, his gaze fell upon mine. Seeing those eyes sparkling as diamonds, there was no doubt about it. He was truly there. Before I realized, the music came to an end, and Lord Easton bowed. It was a pleasure dancing with you, Lady Beaufort. Though I could not help but notice that you seemed to be present. Not be present. Is something the matter? What? Oh, not at all. You must forgive me, my lord. It is quite all right. I suppose I shall see you later. Excuse me. Lord Easton left with a nod of the head, soon to find another lady to dance with. Had I squandered my chances? No, the evening has just begun. I mustn't let that concern me. Yeah, no, it's true. People at these fancy parties, they dance with other people, lots of people all the time, you know. Unless they're married, then obviously they'll dance more with their husband or wife. But even then, I mean, it's not unusual for them to switch up partners and all that. That's just how fancy people work, especially when they're looking for a proper match, I imagine. Yet my mind wandered once more to him. Was I to seek him out, though it may be more proper to let him find me first? Nah, if you're interested in him, go for it, dude. Propriety be damned, for I could scarcely wait to see him again. I'm curious, so she seems to know him before. We haven't met him before. I wonder if this is like a sequel that's happened to me before. I wonder if this is like a continuation of something, so I don't know. It has been so many years since I last saw him. Would he still recognize me? Walking among the crowd of nobles, I saw him once more. Some tried to speak to me, but I scarcely heard their invitations. Then I saw him. He was walking, looking between the nobles, searching for something. And then our eyes met once more. I felt a fluttering in my stomach the moment I realized he was truly here. It was not my imagination making me a fool. It's covering... I don't like that it's covering his face. I don't know if that's on purpose or an accident, but I don't like that. It was kind of goofy. All right. Solange. The gentleman rushed to approach me, but then froze up, his eyes wandering momentarily to the people nearby.
I meant to say, it's a pleasure to see you, my lady.
As we technically knew each other regardless of the time passed, I greeted him with a nod. However, he bowed at the same time rather than nodding back.
Eirwin, is it truly you?
Apologies. That is to say, my lord. I realized then that I did not know his family name. In fact, I did not know he was part of the nobility at all. I merely knew him to be a traveler.
Oh.
Boreas. Lord Boreas. Of course, Lord Boreas. I have to admit, I did not expect to see you here. It has been so many years. It is to be expected, I suppose. It is not often I have the chance to visit this kingdom in my travels. But for this evening, I received a personal invitation to come. Truly? So you must know the Queen? Oh, yes, of course. That is what I meant. His gaze flickered away for a moment before returning to me. That is incredible, Eirwin. I did not know you were of a noble blood. That made my behavior in our past meetings all the more embarrassing in hindsight. Ah, well, I did not want to affect our conversations.
People act differently when they know who I am.
Yeah, I mean, she could probably relate, I imagine. Well, I cannot deny that. Had I known, well, it matters not. I just hope I did not make you uncomfortable. You could never do that, Your Grace. and I was truly glad to spend time with you. I felt a heat rush to my cheeks hearing those words. Likewise, Lord Boreas. Yet something was still on my mind, a question missing an answer for many years. My lord, I must ask you. I attempted to put on my most polite tone, thinking through my next words.
Why did you leave?
I expected you to ask eventually. Then you must have known how much it pained me. Lord Boreas, there hasn't gone a day since then without you on my mind. It meant a lot to me how you actually listened to me. So when you disappeared, I was left with a void within me, an empty space no one else could fill. So why did you have to leave like that? My voice was low to avoid being heard by others.
Solange.
Lady Buford, it was a sadly choice outside of my control. I was called away, had to leave as soon as possible. Believe me, it hurt me just as much to leave your side. Yet I could not ignore my duty. Sure, I understand. I actually don't understand. I'm actually a little bit confused. Not entirely sure what's going on. It seems like something happened in the past, but we as the player don't know. They as the characters know, we as the player don't know. So I'm feeling a little disconnected from the story at this point. I kind of, if there's something had happened in their past, I kind of wish it was shown to us rather than hinted at, personally, because I don't know. I don't feel as connected to the story, let's put it that way. But maybe I'm jumping to conclusions, and maybe they'll reveal more later on. And so we'll keep playing, and I'll try to save my critique until the end. Well, you know me, I always gotta ask these questions. What happened? All right. I was upset, yet if there was something I could relate to, it was his sense of duty. Though I couldn't help but wonder about the details, what could be so pressing to not even bid me farewell? I sensed he did not want to talk further about the topic. I understand. At least you are here with me now. That means a great deal to me, you know. Lord Boreas' expression brightened at my words. Lady Buford, I feel the same. Silence befell between us for a moment. Despite how much I wished to talk to him, the words would not come out. In such a public setting, discussing anything could lead to eavesdroppers learning things they mustn't. I looked around me to the couples dancing, then back to Lord Boreas. His eyes never left me, and they looked into mine expectantly, as if waiting for me to speak further. I really like his sprite. He's very pretty. Pretty. I like it. Very nice. I am curious about their backstory, though. I hope they go into a little more depth, because otherwise I'm gonna die of curiosity. All right. Will you ask me for a dance? Yeah, make him ask. Lord Boreas. Yes. Are you going to ask me for a dance, or must I do it myself?
Oh.
His eyes wandered to the people around, seeming to realize at last what I was hoping for. While seemingly nervous at first, a chuckle escaped his lips when he looked back at me. As you wish, Your Grace.
May I have this dance?
He extended his hand to me. Of course. Despite the glove he wore, his hand felt cold. What? How does the hand feel cold underneath a glove? I don't know. Maybe his glove felt cold, I guess is what they're trying to say. That's weird. Alright. Unless there's something magical going on. Is he like Jack Frost or something? Maybe. Who knows? Maybe there's something supernatural about it. We made our way to where the other dancing couples were and began moving along to the music. Now being so close to him, I felt warmer than before. First he's cold, now he's warm. He's hot and then he's cold. Or rather, he's cold and then he's hot. I'm not going to start singing. A memory of the times past struck me. That familiar warmth that surged within me during our many talks. Yet the hand on my back was anything but. How could it be? Are you cold, my lord? Not at all. Yet your hands feel as the snow outside this very palace. Does it? Well, I assure you, I am quite all right. You needn't worry about it. If you are sure. Yet I remained uncertain. We continued swaying to the music, mostly in silence. Awkward. Eirwin carried an expression of intense focus, as if he was afraid of missing a step. I squeezed his shoulder lightly, attempting to comfort him. Sorry, I'm not quite used to this dancing. Do you mean waltz? Is it not common abroad? How odd. Yes, but I have been practicing. I did not want to make a fool of myself at this ball. But you saw through me, did you not? It is quite all right, my lord. You're doing very well. I suppose I am a tad nervous.
To be dancing with such a beautiful woman? Who would not be?
I was taken aback by the sudden compliment, my cheeks blushing bright red. Apologies, I hope that was not too forward of me to say. Yet it is the truth. I wanted to tell you since I first laid eyes on you. You look stunning.
Lord Prevails.
Thank you, but what else about her do you like, besides her looks, sir? Before I knew it, we were at the very center of the ballroom. I could feel the gaze of many nobles on my back. It seemed Eirwin noticed too, as he nervously glanced around. I did not make a nervous mistake, did I? Obvious mistake. I can't read. No, but people are certainly looking. Yeah, let's go somewhere else. Screw people. Uncomfortable by being the center of attention, I looked at Lord Boreas with pleading eyes. Perhaps it would be best for us to go somewhere else. Of course. Are you feeling quite all right? Yes, I just don't want to be stared at. Then let us go somewhere more private, if you please. I nodded, and we stopped our dancing mid-song to find a balcony, a place away from most people. After all, in this weather, who besides us would go there? I led him over to the balcony, my small slice of haven away from the hustle and bustle of the ball, where I could finally breathe. Lord Boreas leaned against the banister, the wind ruffling light blue locks. His eyes shone like shards of glistening ice, concern and curiosity refracted in those dazzling shades of blue and white. My lady, is there something on my face? Ignoring the heat swarming my face, I shook my head and stood next to him, by now used to the lack of body heat. Please, now that we're away from polite company, simply call me Solange. All right, Solange, then call me Eirwin. Now, may I ask for a copper? No. Is it silver now? I attempted to stifle a giggle at his mumblings. Foreigners can be quite silly. I'm glad you find me amusing. Regardless, a piece for your thoughts, then. Oh. They were trying to make a reference to a penny for your thoughts, I guess. I totally did not pick up on that. It took, I don't know. It took me a minute. It's nothing. It's simply been a while since I last laid eyes on you. What's it been? A couple of cycles now. The countless celebrations without him flashed before my eyes in a boring series of flashbacks. Yes, many balls have passed without you. It's been dreadfully dull, to say the least. Is that so? Or are the people still so stiff and cold? You think that they'd be walking statues with how lifeless they are. It's quite the same. Same questions about my dowry, my talents, my ability to bear children. Wow. A little forward. Are children something you want? I turned to him, the rambling building in my throat stumbled to a halt. I'm not certain I have a choice in the matter. You deserve to. Cheeks once again raging like a fireplace, I cleared my throat. Ah, it seems I'm doing it again, venting to you like an uncouth fool. The first night we met flashed through my mind of me rushing into the garden to blow off some steam, unknowingly running into an unsuspecting Lord Boreas. Had it been anyone else, I would have been hauled off to my father, or worse, exposed for ill manners. But Eirwin is so kind, offering his kerchief and ear for me to listen. You are no uncouth fool. You simply have a lot of thoughts bottled up. It is refreshing to hear them spoken out loud. Even now, he is being so magnanimous. It is remarkably easy to talk to you. Truly, I've been told that others find me too chilly. I mean, maybe physically, but he seems pretty nice and kind of a little shy and awkward maybe, but nice. Well, they are fools to misjudge you so. Still, I offer my apologies for going off on a tangent, Eirwin, again. It's quite all right. As much as I despise your current circumstances, I do appreciate seeing this side of you. Utterly enraged.
Utterly passionate, emboldened, and warm. The complete opposite of those frigid nobles.
I rather like ice, you know, but not in people. Not like that. I see. Well, I appreciate you listening to me nonetheless. Always. It is a pleasure. So, how have you been? A world-weary sigh escaped him. Eirwin turned around, resting his elbows on the banister as he looked out into the horizon. My employ takes me to various parts of the world, but I must admit, traveling can get cumbersome at times. How so? I've never ventured out from the kingdom before. Never. Eirwin's multifaceted gaze turned throughout when I shook my head. There is beauty in the world, and I am fortunate to be able to witness it and its inhabitants from across many lands. It sounds lovely. It is, but there's never enough time to appreciate the sights and sounds, and by the end of it all, everything looks the same when you cover it with enough sleet and hail. What's your favorite part of traveling? He met my curious look with a soft, discerning stare. I fought the urge to fiddle with the hem of my dress. The people are always surprised, whether they bundle up and scurry into their homes or rush out to play in the snow. You can never tell. Even with stuffy nobles. Not all of them are stuffy. Like I said, they can surprise you. Sometimes I wish I could stay for just a bit longer, get to know the people, rest my feet for a while. You know, once upon a time I would have given anything to break free from my station. I understand my fortunes, but the weight of responsibility and duty, it robs you of the choices you wish you had. This time we let out twin sighs that echoed across the tiny space we shared. They like to sigh, don't they? Out here, maybe it was meant to be. They're both out here. It was almost as if the two of us were the only beings in the world. They're just so done with the world. You know, since snow hardly befalls our kingdom, we have a little tradition. Oh? Yes, we hang paper snowflakes upon the window, along with a wish we hope the spirits would take note of and grant. And what was your wish this year? A teasing smile played on his lips, eyes sparkling like sunlight upon the snow. Though the urge to don my mask and attempt to hide my ruddy cheeks is strong, I try for a nonchalant shrug. There's a secret, besides. What matters is the wishes we can make now. I'm not sure where we could acquire paper, but would you like to hang a paper snowflake with me? An enigmatic smile crossed Eirwin's face. With a hand behind his back, he stood up straight. With a flick of a wrist, presented me with, "Is that my paper snowflake?" It had to be. I was the only one who insisted upon yellow snowflakes using dyed paper my father had imported from abroad. How did you... Solange, there is something I must confess. I am not human. What? He's not human? What a surprise. What? Then what are you? In response, Eirwin began taking off his gloves. Instead of the same healthy peach hue of skin, the tips of his fingers were tinged blue as if in perpetual frostbite. Oh. Yup, something supernatural. What a shock. A snow spirit. But those are only legends. This must be a dream, surely, or that makes sense. I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, why his hands were always cold. That makes sense. Truly. Yes. The cold skin, the strangely colored hair, and the unawareness of etiquette. And the way Eirwin moved with an otherworldly grace that took my breath away. Why does she want to say that aloud? A huff of disbelief escaped me. I placed a hand on my forehead. I can't believe this. I'm not sure what myths about us have been circulating these days, but I do have one more way to prove it if you'd let me. The so-called spirit held out a hand, leaving me staring down into sapphire-tipped fingers. Etiquette lessons had no guidelines to this, but common sense told me to run. What? Why? My heart called for me to take his hand. There you go. Chilly. I have no warmth to speak of. Slowly giving me ample time to pull away, Eirwin led my palm to rest over his chest. Nothing thrummed under my touch. Nor a heart. But if... Oh. Nor a heart. But if it did, I know it would beat for you.
Eirwin.
I could only stare at him, everything else fading into the backdrop. I know not how long we stood there with my hand on his chest until the distant sound of chatter from the ballroom snapped us out of the daze. You must have more questions. I don't care how old he is. How are there others like you? Yes, there are many winter spirits carried all over the world by the winds. Do you get to see them often? No, it has been hundreds of years since I've last seen my kind. He must be so lonely. Is that all you want to know? A leading question. I tear my gaze... I don't even know why. I tear my gaze from the context, Sarah. Context. From the paper snowflake hanging on his hands and into the soft smile on his face. Why did you take my wish? A little snowflake told me you wanted to see me one last time. Oh, hush you. He laughed when I gave him a playful tap on the arm. Then, ostensibly, the mirth faded from his voice as a tender longing replaced it. It was my wish as well. I missed you, Solange. If only I could stay for longer. What do you mean? Gently he reached out to tuck a strand of my hair behind my ear. I caught his ice-cold hand, trying to discern the answer in his eyes that avoided my own. Eirwin, please. I wish not to make you uncomfortable, but I must know. The nature of my work is forever fleeting, Solange. Winter cannot remain the same place forever. The implications of his words sent my heart plummeting to the pit of my stomach.
Change is the only constant in nature. And my time here is almost up.
When will you return? I am not certain. The winds lead me wherever they feel I am needed. It was only luck that led our paths to cross once more. What if I wish the winds to bring you to me once again? The winds are capricious beings, so there is no guarantee, but I can only wish for the same.
Thank you for spending this evening with me.
He took my hand in his cold grip and placed a freezing kiss on the back of my palm.
Far be it from me to be the cause of your sadness, but I must not overstay my welcome.
In desperation, I clasped his hand before it could fall.
Don't go. Please. Do not leave me again. Not like this.
Wow, okay. See, this makes me think, it makes me more curious to know what happened between them, that she's so desperately in love with him. I mean, sure, he's good looking and all, but I mean, the ice spirit thing is kind of cool, but she didn't know that before. I don't know, man. Moonlight silhouetted his features, making him an ethereal under the silvery glow. His smile was like freshly fallen snow, pure, soft, and delicate, something that could easily melt and slip past my fingers once more.
I'm sorry, Solange, but to stay would be to doom your people to an eternity of snow.
And to leave would doom me to an eternity without you.
What? Okay. Sorry. I'm not trying to make fun of it or anything. It's just a little more dramatic than I thought it was going to be. He leaned in until our foreheads touched gently, a cool balm to the longing ache festering inside my chest. Eirwin. Yeah, can't we just go with him? Why does he have to stay for us? If she wants to be with him,
I'll go with you.
him. Whatever do you mean? I do not know where you're going, but I want you to take me with you on your travels. Maybe I should have saved her. Maybe I haven't saved at all. Let me go ahead and save. Why not? We're probably going to die or something. Knowing my luck. I let you go once, and if you truly leave again, then at least let me come with you. I could not do that, Solange. Wherever you go, it will only be winter. And what about your home? You would scarcely see your family again. I could not take you away from that. I could not take that away from you. I mean, she doesn't really seem to like the life she's living. It seems like she kind of wants to get away from it all, honestly. So it was a difficult choice, to be sure, but could I truly spend the rest of my life far from my love? Forced to marry a man I did not love merely for the sake of continuing my bloodline. Surely even without me, Matilda and father would be all right. I have made my decision, Eirwin. This is what I desire. I took his cold hands in mine, still holding on to their warmth, and looked into his eyes.
Solange.
You will have to become a winter spirit as well to travel with me. Are you truly certain that? I wish for nothing more than to be by your side. If that is what it takes, I am ready. There truly is no swaying you. Well, who am I to argue with the lady?
After all, seeing you for every day of my life sounds like a dream.
And it could be our reality.
Yes, I would like that very much.
Eirwin cupped my cheek with his hand and brought his forehead to mine. I began to feel my body grow cold, yet some warmth still remained in my chest. My heart was still beating, but I could feel I was no longer the same. In the snowy night, the wind carried us away. Ah. Behind us, the snow in the kingdom began to melt, and we continued forward. We traveled through countless lands, all of which we were met with beautiful white snow. It was the first time I was able to witness so many different places. I relished in the sights and the presence of my beloved. As for my family, I never did see them again. It was my only hope that Matilda found a better home to serve. Oh, we forgot to keep our promise to Matilda. Oh. Our bad. I forgot. Whatever. That despite my disappearance, she would still be continuing her life stronger. Perhaps one day the winds would carry us both back to our kingdom and I could greet them again. Aw, that was sweet. Very cute. I liked it. It was good. Alright. Give me a minute to collect my thoughts. It'll only be a second for you guys. And then I will do a critique. And like I said, I liked it. The art is great, the art style, and I really like the movement, all the movement. It was really cool and very dynamic and interesting, you know? You don't really see that all too often in a visual novel. Usually it's a lot more static. So I like the movement in this. Makes it stand out, gives it its own identity and whatnot. The backgrounds were really nice, character sprites were nice. I liked the characters all right. They were okay. The romance was, I don't really want to say rush, but it didn't really go into depth. We were kind of just told about the love. We were kind of just told and expected to believe that they were in love. It wasn't really shown that much. And that's getting more into my critique side, but more on the positives. I like the GUI. It looks really nice. This title page, this little logo, it's really nice. I like it. And I like the wintry aesthetic. It definitely tied into the theme well, I think. And the colors are really nice. I like the contrast of like the warmth and the cold, because that was definitely a theme. She was always saying how he felt physically cold, but he made her feel warm inside, and that's really cute and sweet, and it gave it a sweet, kind of charming little vibe. I liked the main character. She was good in the beginning. I liked her better in the beginning than I did at the end. I kind of lost a little respect for her at the end. Once again, we'll get to that. And Eirwin, yeah, he seemed cool. I like the ice spirit, the supernatural vibe. That was a nice... I kind of suspected it, but I wasn't entirely sure. And then so I like that they hinted at it, but then later on they revealed, yeah, that's what it is. And I know I kind of poked fun about it. I do that. That's just my personality. Don't judge me for it. But I liked it still. I'm glad they included the supernatural. It makes it interesting in my book. Love supernatural stuff. Loved it. Eirwin was a nice, likable guy. We didn't really get to see why he liked Solange, and once again, we'll get to that later. But besides that, he seems not like a nice guy. Didn't creep me out or anything. Didn't give me the creeper vibes. That's good. So it did give me a cozy, kind of cute feel, and I liked it. So I did like that aspect of it, of his personality. So now that that's said, let's get into my constructive criticism, and it's going to be obviously about the romance. As I was kind of saying throughout, I wish that we had shown more of how they met and how they fell in love and stuff, because we were told it, but it wasn't really shown. We weren't shown them falling in love. It happened in like a snap. The beginning of the visual novel, Solange, the main character, she was like, I like this aspect of her. She was like, I don't really care for romance. I don't really care about guys. I'm doing this to help my family, and I respect that, you know? But then by the end of the story, after Eirwin revealed himself and then said that he was leaving or whatever, all of a sudden she's like, oh, I can't live without you. Like, even when she first met Eirwin, she was like, oh, it's that guy again. Oh, well, let's get to know him more better. But then all of a sudden she can't live without him. I don't get it. There's something I'm missing to the piece of this puzzle, and that's them falling in love, honestly. I didn't really get that connection. I think it's because we're missing the part of where they met, you know. If I were to give advice to how to improve this or add something to this, and once again, I may be missing something. Maybe this is a sequel and I didn't know about it. As far as I know, just playing this, I would have liked to see, once again, them meeting each other and them falling in love. That's what I would like to see added to this. If you wanted to improve upon it, add a little more to give the reader more connection to Solange, and so they're not disconnected from the story, you know. They're in on the secret. They know what happened however many years. I don't even know how long it's been since they saw each other. I don't remember if it was mentioned or not. But how long? What happened that made Solange fall in love with Eirwin? And Eirwin fall in love with Solange? Because all we're really given is not that much, really. He said she was beautiful, and she said he was graceful, I think. That's something, but that's not love, honestly. So there's something missing for the romance. Anyway. And it's not, obviously, okay, I understand it's a jam. I understand it's going to be difficult to incorporate, to go into depth about the romance. But nevertheless, now that the jam is over, if you wanted to add more to this to improve upon it, yeah, maybe just add like a prologue or something at the very beginning that shows where they first met and that they start to develop feelings for one another. Because in this, it's not present. It just goes from not interested in guys to bam, can't live without this guy, I gotta have him. And I'm willing to abandon my family and everything I own. And once again, there's probably multiple endings, and I probably just went for the romance ending because I'm a romance fanatic. I'm a fangirl, won't deny it. But yeah. And that's why I am very particular about romance. If there's something missing, I'm going to point it out. I'm going to sniff it out like a hound dog and say, there's not enough romance here. I want more of it. I want to see more. I don't want to be told that they're in love. I want it to be shown it. I want to see them falling in love with each other. See what they like about each other. Not just be told, you're a warm person and I like you. I want to see it. I want to see what's warm about them. I think that pretty much summarizes my feelings. So, overall, though, I thought it was really well done and I really enjoyed it, especially for just a short little cozy winter visual novel. It was sweet and cute. I liked it, but I want more. That's how you can tell that I liked it. If my only complaint is that I want more, I want to see more of it, then that's a good thing, right? It just means it's good, but could be better. All right. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. Bye.